Alright, so if you watched the live yesterday, you would have seen where I put the motor in. And when I torqued the torque converter bolts, the motor didn't spin. Sort of freaked me out. So I started getting online and looking. A freshly rebuilt motor like this is actually really pretty hard to turn. But I got some ideas. I'll show you what happened. Or what I did to check it to make sure it was not, frozen being a brand new motor. But it's actually all good. I'll show you right here. Alright, so what I did is I found 3 bolts that would fit on the crank. And I used the pry bar, to put some leverage on. Motor spun. It was easy. I was like, thank God. It would kill me to have to pull this motor all the way back out again to get the, I don't know what, fixed on it. But thankfully it's done, so now I'm going to put the plugs back in right there. I'm not used to using the camera. But put the plugs back in. I'm going to pull the intake back off, pull all the tape and everything off there, pull these junky old valve covers off, and continue with the assembly process. I know this still has to get tightened. This has to get tightened. I need to put the back oil pressure sensor in. It's hard to see everything with it so dark. But back behind the intake there's an oil pressure sensor I gotta put in. Yeah, just basically I gotta assemble the motor, gotta put the crank pulley back on. But I am happy now that I know the motor turns and there's nothing wrong with it. I guess I need to put my fisheye lens on here, huh? But I have a mic on, I hope that helps. And I'm going to get back to assembly here. So what's happening here is big dumb me made a boo-boo. That boo-boo is the back adjuster mount for the power steering goes behind the motor mounts. I didn't find it till about 30 minutes ago. I gotta clean that, prime it, paint it. Gonna probably have to use the chain, just the chain on the hoist, and jack up this side of the motor enough to unbolt the motor mount and get it slid in behind it. Yeah, fantastic. It sucks. But that's where, you saw me put the intake and everything on. I don't have the bolts for the valve covers. They're coming. They're on their way. But everything else seems to be fine. I got the oil sensor in. It's just a dummy light also. This is the wrong temp sensor. That is for a gauge. This car don't have gauges. This car just has dummy lights. So I got to pull that out and put the dummy light gauge in. It's also on its way. Poopy. But yeah. I'll also need some hose clamps. I'll have to remind them of that. But other than that, it's all going in pretty good. Looking clean. Looking super spiffy in the Impala. I believe I can make the throttle lever work without any problem. Kick down, I don't know. I'll have to work on that one. I tightened all the spark plugs, so yeah. Now I'm just going to pull off the things I've already messed up and clean, prime, paint, lift, put on, the usual. Go backwards 10 steps. Alright, I got the heater hoses on, got this valve cover on, got this header, or not header, the manifold on this side. This one was fun because the back adjustment bracket for the power steering pump had to go underneath the motor mount. I didn't know. So I had to jack up this side, put the motor mount on. Or not put a motor mount on, put the back bracket on underneath the motor mount. It sucked. It was not fun. But that's done. What else is there? This is the top alternator adjustment bracket. I know it's hard to see stuff because it's dark. Trying to turn the light on here. It's not working. But anyway. I have everything basically almost done. What we need to get is the fuel fitting down here. I'm going to make my rubber line to the carburetor. Radiator hoses, the ones we got at the factory, don't fit. They're way off. That sensor, which is on order, be here tomorrow. And yeah, I got to get some shims, machine shims or torque converter shims. It's a little too far away. It's a 1/4 inch right now, and 1/8 is about what I need it. So I need 1/8 inch shims. But that's on the way. The torque converter bolts, I got to replace one. It's stripped, but it's going good. We're getting there. Very, very close to getting there. I'm tired. Done for today. We'll keep this going all week, and I'll show one video in the end. So I'm moving at a pretty good rate of speed with this. Alternator's on, power steering's on, motor mount's tight. This manifold's on, valve covers, you can see I got them on. Clutch fan for the water pump. Man, it's so dark on this camera. But all that stuff's on. I have to take the manifold from this side down to the lower garage and get the studs out of the back of it. Hopefully I can get them out without breaking them. I have to drill them. Distributor's not in yet because I got to pre-oil it. And it also is calling for these vacuum stop plates, which I've never messed with before. So I got to learn up on those. I'm probably going to get some sort of glue or something because these things are wicked loose and pop off like always. The butterflies. So I don't want them falling off going down the road. Other than that, yeah. Should have the temp switch today. Should have the fuel pump fitting today. We're going to have to figure out something with the hoses. I got to get the radiator in. The distributor's got to go in after I pre-prime it. And the belts. And we'll be pretty much done as far as that goes, then the next step will be doing trans lines and stuff to hook to the radiator, which is why I don't have the radiator in. Fill up the trans, figure out what to do about the drive shaft, see if it's long enough or the right one, clean the yoke, replace U-joints if it is the right one. Other than that, I mean, it's like putting a starter on, flywheel bolts. What else was there? There was some just little things. Dust cover for the torque converter. Yeah, but it's moving pretty fast now. We're going to be firing this thing by the end of the week, I hope. Which will be in this video because I'm going to do a full week of recording and then upload it. But I'm going to head down to the other house now. Alright, so the update is everything's going pretty good. Got all the engine basically together. Got to get upper and lower radiator hose. Fuel line fittings so I can run the fuel line. Got to get a PCV valve. Start running vacuums. The rest of the fuel lines. Right now I'm jacking it up. Getting ready to go up under. And I need to bolt on the trans mount in the rear. I need to bolt on the trans lines themselves. Start working on the shifter linkage. And also start working on the what else is down there? Torque converter bolts. So that's where we're at right now. Well, big update time. As you can see, it's pretty much all together. Made the wires, fuel pump and everything hooked up. I've got a secondary filter to catch some nasties coming out of the tank. But this baby is ready to fire. So tomorrow I'm going to do a live firing it up. Everything's hooked up, wired up. Only thing I got to do tomorrow before I go live is put the fuses under the dash. Squeeze me. And yeah, we should be ready to fire. It's full of water. It's full of trans fluid to the point where it burped out the top. It's going to need more once it's running because it'll fill everything. All the little nooks and crannies. But it is pretty much ready to go. So tomorrow around 2 or 3 o'clock, which will be Friday, 2 or 3 o'clock, we're going to fire it up. I'm going to clean up everything tomorrow. Maybe later tonight I'll come back up and clean it up, get it out of the way so I can push the car as far forward as I can, probably close to outside, because this thing is open manifolds and it's going to be loud. So, if you guys want to come see tomorrow, subscribe, follow. I'm also on TikTok, same name. And we will get this thing fired up and running. Hopefully not make a giant milkshake machine or a giant cam eater. But it's ready to go.